Hey everybody, and welcome to AMC Movie Talk for movie fans. I'm your host, Ashley Mova, and this is the daily show where we give you all of the latest news from the world of movies, plus a little bit of insight into what it all means. Joining us, as always, is AMC Movie News Editor-in-Chief, John Campea.
Well, greetings and salutations, everybody, and happy St. Patrick's Day. I'm actually wearing green shorts since I don't have any green shirts. Glad you're joining us.
Also here, writer-director John Schnapp.
I swear to God, I'm Irish. I swear to God, I'm Irish. You know, I spaced it out, and I'm wearing this yellow shirt. Hi.
And also your AMC's Christian Harloff.
You're a bunch of bums.
Well, we start off today's show with some Deadpool. As many of you know, the Fox Deadpool movie is slated to hit AMC theaters on February 12, 2016, just 11 months from now, and reports have begun circulating that the film will actually begin shooting this week. Speaking to his excitement for the project, the film star Ryan Reynolds made the following comments in a recent interview. "I'm incredibly happy about it. We've got a director that understands that world and writers with a slavish devotion to the canon of that character. That's the most important aspect. It's made in a way that the most critical of fanboys could embrace. Well, that's the hope." Schnapp, do you believe they can make Deadpool in a way that will indeed make even the most critical fanboy happy?
Being a critical fanboy. Yeah, you know what? It's exciting. It's fun to know that they're actually shooting this movie, because last year the movie was dead. Then we see that little trailer at Comic-Con. We're like, hey, that was cool. And then all of a sudden, now it's happening and they're actually filming it. So, I mean, to me, I'm still in shock. Like, this is all a lie, you know? It's going to get shut down in a month. This can't possibly be happening. So, yeah, I'm very excited for Ryan Reynolds. I think he's perfect casting as Deadpool. So, dreams do come true for casting decisions. So,
Christian?
Yeah, I absolutely think that the fanboys are going to be happy on this one because Ryan Reynolds is a fanboy. Of Deadpool.
Oh, yeah.
And the fact that he voiced the animation that was leaked, you know, to see what the fans would think, and they loved it. So he was a part of that. So, you know, he's going to, his vision, not his particular vision, but his input is going to be taken, and as it was taken in that short animation. I'm very excited and very optimistic for this take. I can't wait, because you're right. He's perfect for this role, and it is a dream kind of casting to have him in it, and he gets to do it without taping his mouth shut.
I know.
So
Insanity. The mark with the mouth.
Super excited to see what they do.
You know, the really cool thing about this is that Reynolds is still a really hot star. He has a lot of movies he could do if he want. But what he's done is he's spent the last couple of years driving the bus of championing this, let's get a Deadpool movie made. Like, he has been putting other things on hold so he could try to get a Deadpool movie made. And if you are a huge Deadpool fan, you've got to find that encouraging. About his comments, on one hand, I'm like, woo, newsflash. Star of an upcoming movie says the movie's going to be good. Woo! Of course he is. I'm also maybe a little bit concerned about it, because what I don't want them to do, and I don't think they should ever do this, is strictly focus on the fanboys and try to make a movie that just pleases them. Because we've talked about this before, that represents, 2% of us, as opposed to the wider movie-going audience. But look, these guys are savvy enough. They know what they're doing. Hopefully they can find that magic balance of making something that will appeal to the wide audience and yet satisfy those more hardcore of us who are in that 2%. And if they have, that is going to be awesome. This could be, seriously, Deadpool for a little film, which I keep forgetting is less than 11 months away. And they're just starting shooting, and it's less than 11 months away. But this film could be a real sleeper hit. Yeah. So I really like these comments. All right, what's next?
Several weeks ago, reports emerged suggesting that Relativity was looking at Boardwalk Empire star Jack Huston to replace the departed Luke Evans for the lead role in their upcoming The Crow remake. Speaking this weekend at the Lexington Comic Convention, The Crow creator James O'Barr confirmed that Huston has officially signed on for the movie. O'Barr also revealed that former Downton Abbey star Jessica Brown Findlay has also signed on for the film, and that The Crow should begin shooting in a few months. Christian, now that it's confirmed, how do you feel about the addition of Huston and Findlay to The Crow?
I don't like it. And not because I don't like them. I actually really like them a lot, both of them as actors. I think The Crow, no pun intended, should die, should go away, because the series it was tainted with all the direct to DVD, everything they put out. It's a great story. The Crow's one of my favorites of all time. Brandon Lee is still and will only be the Crow that I always take. Now, hopefully they make a good version out of this. Like I said, what I like what Jack Huston brings. But I just think that the story is so played out now, and it is all the different Crow goes here, Crow goes to space, Crow does this. It's like it's just like too many of them. There's just too many. So, and it's been cursed. This thing has been cursed. Every person they put in dropped out. It looked like it was going to go one way. Dropped Luke Evans. I think Norman Reedus at one point was attached to this thing. I mean, it's like I'm done with it.
Did the Crow really go to space? Because I want to see that. Is that real?
Stone Temple Pilots.
You know what? Unless this is like a really dark take, because The Crow is pretty dark. Yeah. They're like, this is going to be a newer, darker take. I'm like, The Crow is like almost created goth. You know what I mean? Goth existed, but I'm just saying like introduction to the normal world. This is goth. Yeah, I mean, it's an entry point for goth. So this has to go totally like black metal, satanic, weird stringlety murders. And it's got to be crazy, crazy dark. Like, so I mean, if it's like that, then I'm in. Because I like The Crow. And I think, hey, you know what? I didn't watch the television series or the 48 sequels. So I've seen The Crow and the second Crow, and that's it. So I'm like, I'm kind of ready for a new Crow as long as it's different.
I was actually a little bit excited for The Crow when Luke Evans got attached. And remember about a year and a half ago, too, Tom Hiddleston was said to be attached to it. Remember that? And that's like, ooh. And then they lost Tom Hiddleston. And then Luke Evans. Ooh. Then they lost Luke Evans. And now Huston. Okay, here's the thing about Huston. No, because here's the thing with Huston. I have so little exposure. Now, he's blowing up right now in films that have not come out yet. Yeah. In films that have not come out yet, he's blowing up. He's in the new Ben-Hur. He just landed The Crow. But the problem is, for me, is simply that I haven't had enough exposure to him yet because all I have of him is this from Boardwalk Empire. That's all I got from him. So I don't know. Obviously, there must be people who do see that, and I love what he does in Boardwalk Empire, but that's all I've seen. As far as Findlay goes, she was the hottest thing on Downton Abbey. How often do you hear that term? Hottest thing on Downton Abbey. And she was great on it. And I thought when she left that show, she would blow up. And then it took a while, but she finally popped up in that Colin Farrell movie, that Winter's Tale.
Oh, right.
Remember how bad that
She was good in it, though.
But she was pretty good.
You're right.
So I've been kind of waiting for her to blow up. Maybe this could be it. I don't know. It's just, there's so many question marks here still.
But that's my point, though, is because because I actually really liked her in that crap piece that she was in. And with Huston was actually good in that movie where he played Jack Kerouac with...
yes,
with Harry Potter.
Yeah, I totally forgot about that. Yeah.
So he's really good at that, and so is she. That's my point. Is that I don't know if The Crow could be that kind of movie that blows them both up. I think it's just if it's good, it's going to be like a throwaway movie. I don't think they're going to hit it. Who's directing it now?
They lost their director.
That's what I'm saying.
Got a new guy.
So
I can't remember.
It's such a mess. The two rising stars. If I was their agents, I wouldn't want them in this thing.
The one thing you're talking about how big of a mess this is, talking about film, it reminds me a lot of the situation with Jane Got a Gun or the Natalie Portman one, right? Remember? Like that thing went through like 8 cast changes with actors switching roles.
I still don't know if it was Jude Law. Jude Law is in it or he's not in it. I can't remember. So many people dropped out.
I don't think he is anymore. Okay. I can't remember. Then the director walked the first day of shooting and all this kind of stuff. So much drama. It'd be interesting to see how this turns out. Yeah. All right, folks, we've reached that part of the show for buy or sell. Here's how this works. In front of her, Ashley's got a few other items in the world of movie news. She's going to run them down. Then those of us at the table are simply going to say whether we buy it or sell it. So, Ashley, what do we got?
Yesterday, Paramount Pictures announced that they had picked up the distribution rights to the new film Captive, starring Kate Mara, who starred in House of Cards and the upcoming Fantastic Four, and Selma's David Oyelowo. Captive is based on the book Unlikely Angel, the untold story of the Atlanta hostage hero. It tells the story of how Ashley Smith, played by Mara, a single mother and recovering drug addict, was taken hostage in her own apartment by alleged rapist Brian Nichols, played by Oyelowo. Captive will hit AMC theaters on September 18th. John, buy or sell the sounds of Captive?
Absolutely buy it. This sounds awesome. And in the span of a year, I've become such a massive fan of David Oyelowo. Whether we're talking about the small part he had in Interstellar, of course, the work he did in Selma. This is one of the guys. He should have been nominated for Best Actor for that. But this guy is a superstar in the making. We are going to be talking about this dude for the next 5-10 years. And this sounds like a great role. Very curious to see Kate Mara in this too, as another little sampling size for the upcoming Fantastic Four. Let's see what she's got on the big screen. So overall, I buy this. Schnapp?
Yeah, I'm going to buy it. I mean, I don't know what the actual real story is, but I'm sure there's a lot more to it than, alleged rapist. I'm sure he's not a rapist.
Right.
Nope, 5-minute movie.
Yeah.
That's it.
I know, right? It'd be like, and then the police show up and there's some, So I'm sure there's going to be some discovery and very interesting back and forth between the two actors. So yeah, I'm going to buy it. So
Christian?
That's why I'm buying it, because like you said, from the title alone, with the unlikely angel and then the casting of Oyelowo, you assume that with the alleged rapist thing, you assume that he's going to turn out to not be what he seems, we think, but it's the interaction between these two actors I don't want to see, because you mentioned all of the stuff that Oyelowo's been in, and he adds. He was so good in Rebels. Just his voice in Rebels was so great. He adds such a level that, like you say, he's a big star. So to watch him go back and forth with Mara, because Mara's really good in House of Cards as well. So when you see them and the interaction and the drama, I think this could be like an unsung movie that a lot of people are going to talk about.
All right, what's next?
The news for the upcoming live-action Beauty and the Beast continues to roll in. Already attached to the film are Emma Watson as Belle, Luke Evans as Gaston, Josh Gad as LeFou, and Dan Stevens as Beast. Now we can add a couple of more names. Academy Award-winning actress Emma Thompson will play the role of Mrs. Potts, while actor Kevin Kline will play Belle's father, Maurice. Beauty and the Beast hits AMC theaters on March 17, 2017. Shanat, buy or sell how Beauty and the Beast is shaping up.
this is live action.
Yes.
How's Emma's going to play a pot? This has gone too far, Disney. I'm having issues with you right now. I'm calling you out. I think the casting's great. I love Kevin Kline. I love Emma Thompson. How is she going to play a pot?
Well, she's not. She's just going to be doing a lot of ganja now.
All right,
Mrs. Potts.
I'm all good for that. I want to see a transformation.
Mrs. Potts head. I'm going to buy this huge. I love the original animated thing, Beauty and the Beast. Love it so much. And then I found out just recently that the Academy Award winner composer who did the original animated film and won a couple Academy Awards for it, he's coming back to score this thing too, which I thought was really exciting. It's going to give a nice sense of flow. The cast has been spectacular. Kevin Kline is my hero. I love Kevin Kline.
Fish Called Wanda.
Ken, kill me. That Fish Called Wanda, one of the greatest comedies ever. If you have not seen A Fish Called Wanda, do yourself a favor, pause this video, screw that, finish this video, and then get on whatever streaming service you can and find A Fish Called Wanda. You will thank us later. Yeah. It's amazing. And I have been a huge, remember that film he was in where he was the guy standing in for the president, Dave, which was so awesome. I thought he was magnificent recently in Las Vegas. I thought he was so funny in Las Vegas. So adding him, Academy Award winner, there's nothing to not like about the way this thing's shaping up for me to buy.
It's a huge buy, and his best work is Phoebe Cates, by the way. But yeah, he's great. I will say this about the person casting this movie. This person who's casting this movie should cast every movie ever made from now on, and should cast my life. Like, more people that come in, I want to be casted by Disney. I mean, unbelievable. Like, I've seen Beauty and the Beast more now because of my daughter, but you hear, okay, wait, Josh Gad as LeFou, perfect. Kline as the father, perfect. Her as Mrs. Potts. Wow, the fact that they can really look, they are taking. That's why I'm talking about the casting here.
Stupid question. I got to ask. Is Angela Lansbury still alive?
Yes.
That would have been the only thing that might have been even just a little bit more perfect.
Though, she's got.
Absolutely.
It's got to be tough. But yeah,
she's actually rocking Broadway now.
Is she?
Oh, that's right. That's right.
So there you go. She's not available. She's like, I can't do your silly little movie. Your silly little movie. I can't do it. But yeah, this is really cool. It's shaping. I want to see now who they're going to get for the candlestick and who they're going to get for everybody else, and the clock. The clock.
Is this going to be? Here's the question: is this going to be?
Jason Alexander will be the clock.
Jason Alexander's Cogsworth. That's awesome. Yeah. That's inspired.
I'm actually. I just want to let everybody know I'm actually have been.
He is the casting director.
And how about Life is Beautiful? Roberto Benigni is the candlestick. Even though he's Italian, you need a French accent. But Jason Alexander is Cogsworth.
So is this going to be a musical, or is this going to be like Cinderella, where they like?
No, I think it's going to be musical.
I think it's going to be musical. Same songs from the original too.
Okay,
I'm really excited.
Yeah, we all are.
All right. Well, speaking of animated films, folks, you guys know, if you've been following our channel, you know that Last year, around this time, we did our Movie Madness tournament where we looked at the greatest comic book movies of all time. And we came up with a bracket of 32 movies, and then we put each matchup to you guys to vote on each matchup. Each week we went through the bracket, the winning movies advancing and competing off, and we had the Whedon bracket, we had the Nolan bracket, and it ended up being Avengers in the final against The Dark Knight, which surprised none of us that it was the opportunity, and The Dark Knight took it by your vote. And now we are doing the same thing this year, except instead of comic book movies, we are doing our Movie Madness tournament on best animated films of all time. This was difficult to come up with lots of discussion, lots of disagreement, and it's 32. Now, first of all, some people have been asking me, why didn't we expand the field to 64? And there are two reasons why we didn't expand this year's tournament to 64 movies. First of all, we felt that it would have made the tournament just a little bit too long. We felt that the length of the tournament that we did last year was like the perfect length and the perfect amount, and we thought another round would just make it feel a little bit too long. Secondly, while there are some deserving films that are going to be left off this list of 32 that we're about to give you, we felt that if we made it 64, we suddenly would have been having about 20 to 25 movies that have no business being in the discussion of greatest animated film of all time. So even though it would have meant some films that get left out, maybe deserved to be in, could have been in, we felt it would have gone too much the other way as well. So that's why we kept it to 32. So listen. We're about to announce the 32 teams, the 32 films. I keep saying teams. I'm in my sports mindset. But for those of you who saw the video we put out yesterday announcing the tournament, I listed some films that did not make it. Well, after I got some really heated phone calls from AMC Movie News team members and a lot of heated emails and a lot of whatever, we went back to the drawing board, looked at it all again, and we made some changes. So you might see one or two films pop up here that we said were not going to be in, but did end up making it in. So now, this Friday, we will have our first round. The first round of this tournament will be on Friday. That's when we will reveal to you the seedings, which brackets, and our two brackets this year are the Lasseter bracket and the Miyazaki bracket. And we'll break down for you then and then give it to you in the links where you can go to vote on each matchup. But for now, we're just going to let you know and fill you in and announce the 32 films that have made it into our Movie Madness tournament. And here they are. And these are in no particular order, by the way. The first three, I'll just get all three of these out of the way. Toy Story 1, 2, and 3. These are not just amazing animated films. There are arguments to be made that this might be amongst the greatest trilogies of all time. Every single one of them is a masterpiece. Toy Story 3, if you look at its resume, one of only 3 animated films in history that actually got nominated for Best Picture at the Academy Award. And like the first one's a classic. Some people think that the second one's even better. Second one is one of only like a handful of films on Rotten Tomatoes with wide release that actually holds a perfect 100%. And then Toy Story 3, which some people think is the best of the series. So the first 3 films that we're announcing that get in are the Toy Story series. The next film that we're announcing, Iron Giant, arguably Vin Diesel's greatest work. It is, and Brad Bird. It was the film that introduced us to director Brad Bird. This holds such a special place in so many people's hearts. Moving on, the next one, WALL-E. The first 15, 20 minutes of this movie reintroduced us to the idea that you could tell beautiful story without any dialogue. And this movie is just so magical. I remember Time Magazine saying that Time Magazine called WALL-E one of the greatest sci-fi films of all time, not just animated. It's a masterpiece. So WALL-E makes it into our tournament. Next up, Grave of the Fireflies. This movie, and I know there's going to be a lot of you out there who have not seen this film, and I encourage you, if you're going to vote in our Madness tournament, even if you're not, go get it and watch it. It is one of the most gut-wrenchingly emotional, dramatic animated films. Probably, I'll call it this. It is the most emotional, gut-wrenching animated film I've ever seen.
Do you like to actually feel and cry when you see movies? This will do it.
Oh, it's like no other animated film you've ever seen. Next up, the aforementioned Beauty and the Beast, one of the only other, it was the first animated film in history to be nominated for Best Picture at the Academy Awards, now being remade, it had big stage play, all that kind of stuff. One of my all-time favorites. Next up, 101 Dalmatians makes it into the list. All time, one of the greatest animated villains of all time in Cruella de Vil. Absolutely deserves to be on this list. Let's keep going. The next film up, Dumbo. Recently in the news, Tim Burton looks like he's going to be doing a live action thing. But honestly, look it up. One of the greatest, one of the best reviewed animated films of all time. So skillfully made. It's emotional. It's heartwarming. It's sad. Like you were talking about when we were talking about that scene in it that just gets you every time. It absolutely deserves to be on this spot. Number 8, 9, 10. I can't remember. I lost count. The next one up. Wreck-It Ralph. This is a movie that just caught so many people by surprise so pleasantly. A lot of people very angry when it did not win Best Animated Picture at the Academy Awards. Wreck-It Ralph gets in. Next up, the classic film Akira. No tournament like this can exist without Akira in there. It's such an influential
Akira! Yeah.
Such an influential film overall too. Still a lot of people's favorite film of all time. So Akira makes it into our 32. Next up we have another Pixar film, Ratatouille. Maybe one of my top 2 or 3 favorite Pixar films. So funny, so endearing. It's just really great. And for foodies like me, it's probably one of your favorites. Next up, the classic Snow White. Why this young woman has 7 strange men in her bedroom, I don't know. I'm not here to judge. But this is magic storytelling. This is the kind of stuff that every generation has their kids growing up watching it. And that's for good reason. Snow White makes it into the tournament. Next up, this is one of the films that was not going to be in, but after a lot of moving and shaking, you get back in. How to Train Your Dragon makes it in. Once again, I think it's like a 96% film on Rotten Tomatoes, one of the most highly decorated, critically rated animated films of all time. How to Train Your Dragon makes it into our list of 32. Next up, speaking of Tim Burton, The Nightmare Before Christmas. Just as far as, it's so crazy about how this film became, which only I think made about $8 million at the box office when it first came out, is now kind of more than cult classic status, almost classic status. Yeah. And it is crazy how old this film is now, but like generations are now watching this film. So influential. Nightmare Before Christmas makes it on. Next up, the Miyazaki classic Spirited Away. 2002's Academy Award, I believe it was 2002 Academy Award winning film for Best Animated Film, Spirited Away. Many people call it the greatest animated film of all time for many, many good reasons.
If you haven't seen it, that's the one you should watch tonight. Like the other ones might make you cry, but this one is incredible and beautiful and surreal, and it's one of Miyazaki's like masterpieces.
Right, and I'm going to hit pause here just for a second to say, like last year's tournament, we hope that as we do this tournament, that there will be a bunch of films on here that you haven't seen, and hopefully this tournament will introduce you to a bunch of them that you can run out and check out. Now, I also want to pause here since we're about halfway through to say, some people are asking me, what's the criteria for getting a film on this list? And the criteria is this. Number one, subjective quality, that hopefully it's a film that we all think is really, really awesome, right? Number two, industry influence in that, how did the industry respond to this film? Did it win awards from the industry? Did it influence the industry? Things like that. 3, cultural influence. Did we see it make an impact on the culture as a whole? And number 4, success. Was it able to achieve some sort of success? And I'm also going to say this too. We didn't want this list to be all Pixar films. We didn't want it to be all stop motion. We didn't want it to be all Asian films. We wanted that all other things being equal, quality first, but all other things being equal, we wanted to see it mixed up a little bit too. So these are all the different criteria we looked at when putting this list together. With that being said, let's move on to the next film. And the next film up, we just talked about it last week, I think one of my favorites of all time, The Secret of NIMH. There's Nicodemus. It's a movie about a little family of field mice, and it is one of the darker, more intense animated films you're ever going to see. Secret of NIMH, another one that I'm sure a lot of you guys haven't seen yet. Run out and grab it. I keep forgetting these are out of order. The next up, talking about great storytelling without dialogue, the Pixar film Up. If you were not crying in the first 8 minutes of Up, you simply have no soul.
You are not human.
Just one of the most moving pieces, like segments of filmmaking that I think I've ever seen. And overall, the film is just so delightful, so great. I believe this is the third film, 3 out of 3, that was actually an animated film nominated for Best Picture at the Academy Awards, and well deserved. Next up, The Jungle Book. Another film that almost didn't make it in, but you look talking about classic characters like Baloo and the Panther.
I want to be like you. Shooey-dooey-dooey.
King
You want
Louie.
to walk like you.
King Louie.
Tell you.
Yeah.
Come on, man. That movie's amazing.
And there's a reason why a movie like
Yeah.
this gets remade over and over. We got 2 live action versions on the way at this point, one by John Favreau and one by Andy Serkis. And there's a reason for that. So one of the great classics, Jungle Book, makes it onto the list. Next up, a lot of people's favorites of all time, Finding Nemo. This movie just caught so many, and the success it has. We got a Nemo 2 coming out, which I think is called Finding Dory. Yep. Finding Dory is coming out. So Finding Nemo, another Pixar entrant, makes it onto the list. Next up, Little Mermaid. I'm sure a film you're very well versed with.
Yep, absolutely.
With a daughter at home.
You have a tired look about you. You're like, I've seen it 400 times.
Well, I'm just glad she switched to Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah.
There's a lot of, Ariel singing after a while can get on your nerves.
But as far as musical animated films go, one of the more catchy, memorable, like who doesn't know Under the Sea? I mean,
Right.
there's a reason these types of things endure. Little Mermaid makes it onto the list. Next up, Howl's Moving Castle. Another one that I just got to go. If you haven't seen this, go watch tonight.
So fun.
We got 10 films for you to go watch tonight.
You don't need to sleep.
So Howl's Moving Castle is the next up on our list. Moving on, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 more films to go. Here we go. Next up, Brad Bird gets another film on here, The Incredibles. Best film not to have a sequel. I mean, like
They should have just called it the Fantastic Four because that's what it was. It was like they actually made a good Fantastic Four movie. That's the Incredibles right there.
I in all the years of doing movie blogging and podcasting, things like that, I don't know that I've heard of a film from fans more demanding a sequel over the years than Incredibles.
And they just announced. They just
Okay,
announced
yes,
the
and they're
Incredibles
finally
2 like
getting
in
one.
2016,
Is that what
right?
it is?
Or 17 or something like that.
So happy to hear about
But it's coming at any rate. So finally, Incredibles makes it onto the list. Next up, the classic film Pinocchio. It's crazy when I actually found out how many people in today's movie generation have not watched Pinocchio.
Wow.
And it's not just a silly wooden boy with a nose and Jiminy Cricket and everything's fun. And it's got elements of darkness, heavier themes. It's brilliant storytelling. Pinocchio makes it onto our list. Next up, another stop motion classic, Wallace and Gromit: Curse of the Were-Rabbit. I remember going to see this film and was stunned how good it is. And you know what? One of the things we took into consideration too, making these lists, as we went through, what did other online sites have to say about the greatest of all time? And it's really surprising how many of these other people who made these lists have like Wallace and Gromit in like their top 20 of all time. If you haven't seen Wallace and Gromit: A Curse of the Were-Rabbit, treat yourself.
Make sure you go get a cup of tea as well. And you'll know that they all talk like this. Their mouths are very expressive. Gromit.
Next up, also from Pixar, another film that got in at the last minute, Monsters, Inc. It's so well done. I even really like the sequel. It was clearly a step down from the original, but I quite enjoyed the sequel as well. The Goodman and the Crystal. Even though we don't see them on screen together, their voice chemistry is so great. One of the best pairings in animation. So Monsters, Inc. makes it onto the list. Next one up, there are going to be some people not happy with this, but there's no arguing it. Frozen. Frozen makes it on. When you sit back and look at the resume of Frozen, we talked about success. It is the number one, the most successful animated film of all time. Industry influence. It won the BAFTA Award for Best Animation. It won the Annie Award for Best Animation. It won the Academy Award for Best Nomination. We talk about cultural influence. Go out on Halloween or go to Disneyland. You're going to see 7,000 little girls dressed as Anna and whatever her sister's name is. You're going to see them wearing those dresses. It has influenced an entire generation of kids. Huge success, industry recognition. I know this is going to rub a lot of people the wrong way.
Kids won't stop singing the songs.
What? You think it's going to rub people the wrong way?
I think, it's funny because when I was announcing that this thing was coming, I got a lot of emails from people saying, Frozen better not be on that. Yeah, wow. Frozen better not be on. But the fact of the matter is, like when you look at the resume of this movie, you're going to have to look yourself in the mirror and acknowledge I'm just biased against it if you're going to try and make an argument that doesn't deserve
and also
it.
10 years from now, you won't hear that argument. It's just because it's like, Frozen, I'm sick of it because everyone's singing those songs. That builds up. 10 years from now, people are like, have you seen Frozen? It's a masterpiece.
Well, 2 and 3 will probably be out by then. So people will be annoyed with 2 and 3 at that point.
I am very curious to see how Frozen does in this tournament. I'm very curious to see how the fans vote it. But then again, a lot of that will have to do with how these
Frozen
get
3, it's no Frozen. That's what people are like.
Exactly.
Go back and watch Frozen. That's the real one.
Original was so much
10
better.
years from now. You don't know anything. Frozen number one
George
was the
Lucas
one.
Frozen. Okay.
I can't believe they ruined it.
Next up, another one you're going to have to run out and see tonight, Princess Mononoke. Just brilliant, beautiful, intense. It brings all that sort of flavor that you've come to expect from these films. Princess Mononoke, a lot of people think his best. A lot of people think his best. So go out and check out
It's
Princess
a hard
Mononoke.
one because Miyazaki is such a brilliant master. Like it's really the best is like shavings of Spirited Away and Princess Mononoke, Howl's Moving Castle. It's just, there's so many.
Yeah. All right. So now we get the last four, starting with, how could we do this whole thing without this one? Bambi. Bambi makes it in, total classic, endures for generations. There's a reason everybody knows the name and always will, forever and always, amen. Bambi makes it into the tournament. Next up, with only 3 left, no surprise here, The Lion King. Just from a perspective of catchy music, wonderfully voice acted, terrific villain, great heroes, memorable performances. This movie has it all, completely timeless. One of the genius things about this movie was that it doesn't interact with the human world whatsoever. So you can watch this movie in 1940. It wasn't around yet, but I'm saying you can watch this movie in 1940. You can watch this movie in 2040, and it'll still feel completely timeless because of the way they did it. So Lion King gets into the tournament. 2 ones left. I'm really glad Mark Ellis isn't here because Fantasia, talking about industry influence. Find me 5 animators today that don't tell you they were completely influenced by Fantasia.
Ellis doesn't like Fantasia?
Ellis hates Fantasia. Totally.
Ellis, I'm disappointed in you.
But not just how it influenced animation as a whole. Fantasia actually influenced an entire generation of music video makers too. When you really watch the documentaries on it, how Fantasia was put together, totally influential, still has a huge impact today, Fantasia. And the last film, remember, these are in no particular order, but the last film to get in the number 32 position here, Aladdin.
Oh, thank God. I've been waiting for
I was waiting. There's two on my list.
My films weren't in there.
Yeah, there's 2 in there. And I'm like,
where's Aladdin? Where's Aladdin?
And for the adults in here, Heavy Metal, Paprika, those are ones I would have picked. But, you can't have them all.
But, I don't think we're going to find anybody that's going to argue that Aladdin doesn't deserve to be on this. And, some people would say, oh, you guys just all put him in there because Robin Williams. Nah, this is Aladdin. Yeah. This is classic. And I think the reaction Ashley just had is probably the reaction thousands of people watching this thing.
I was having it right now. I'm like, that better be Aladdin in there.
Yeah. So, but look, we realize too. So I'm just going to run down these really quick. You don't have to do the graphics on this, Jonathan. But the Toy Story films: Iron Giant, WALL-E, Grave of the Fireflies, Beauty and the Beast, 101 Dalmatians, Dumbo, Wreck-It Ralph, Akira, Ratatouille, Snow White, How to Train Your Dragon, Nightmare Before Christmas, Spirited Away, The Secret of Nim, Up, The Jungle Book, Finding Nemo, Little Mermaid, Howl's Moving Castle, The Incredibles, Pinocchio, Wallace and Gromit, Curse of the Were-Rabbit, Monsters Inc., Frozen, Princess Mononoke, Bambi, The Lion King, Fantasia, and Aladdin. Look, we know there are films, Transformers. There are films that have been left off this list that deserve to be in the conversation, and that's the tough thing you have when you're trying to put these lists together. No matter what our lists look like, some people are going to disagree, and that's the best thing about.
But what
these
that's
tournaments.
amazing is. There's literally like 20 films that I could think of off the top of my head that aren't on that list, but there's just 32 movies.
Yeah.
And that's when I was like, oh, how come Totoro? But there's already like 4
I know, my neighbor
Miyazakis.
Totoro, right?
No, but I'm just saying if there's so many,
a lot
it's
in
like
there,
I can't even, there's not one Ralph Bakshi film on this list, which, hey, look, I'm a different person, so I would have put that on there, but this is like animated films that are across the board globally.
It's a solid list. Yes, what I would have had Transformers 1986, absolutely. Lady and the Tramp's another one
Lady
too.
and the Tramp wasn't there.
But this is a solid set. And there are a bunch of movies on there that I actually haven't seen that just hearing you talk about them makes me want to.
Or actually want to see them again.
Yeah.
I could watch all 32 of these movies again.
Yeah, watch Snap's face. I've never seen Spirited Away.
But now you get to experience it.
When I hear about guys like this, right? Who there's amazing me like this.
Guys like Harloff, that's what he's trying to say.
There's this amazing movie that they haven't seen. I feel jealous.
Yeah, I know you get to experience
have that first experience out that we never get to have again. I'm so jealous that you get to do that. It's kind of like when I meet first disgust when I meet somebody who hasn't seen Star Wars, but then jealous that they get to experience it for the first time.
What planet are you from?
So, hey guys, our first round, when we will be announcing the seedings. Remember, there are 2 brackets, the Lasseter bracket, the Miyazaki bracket. Each will have a number 1 seed through number 16 seed. We'll announce that seeding on Friday, as well as tell you how to vote on the first round, so you guys can get in, and you guys will determine, just like last year, the outcome of this tournament. Hop into the comments section, start talking about the films that got left out, talk about the films that maybe don't deserve to be on this list, whatever. This is what it's all about, guys, so we can have these debates and everything, so we're really thrilled about it. All right, now with that out of the way, let's move on with the regular stuff on the show. It is time for Mailbag. Listen, if you've got a topic or a question you'd like us to address on the show, you can email us anytime at amcmovietalk@gmail.com. Maybe you'll see your question answered on Movie Talk, maybe on Mailbag, maybe not at all, but send it on in and let's see if we can get it on here. So Ashley, what do we got?
Matt Long writes, hello, fellow movie fanatics. So I was recently looking up how much Anna Kendrick generally makes after being in some critically acclaimed movies, 50-50, Up in the Air, Into the Woods, etc. And I was surprised to see that she doesn't seem to command that large of a salary. Considering, at least in my eyes, she's a pretty big name these days. My question is, what exactly goes into how much an actor can demand in salary? Is it mostly box office success in the past, name recognition, performances, or something like having a more aggressive agent? Thanks.
Well, if you heard us laughing, we just saw the graphic that Ray put together for Anna Kendrick.
Can you go full screen on that?
No, he doesn't have it on there. But here, by the way, guys, I mean, all these amazing graphics you hear. So we got Ray over there, who's one of our production guys here, who puts all these graphics together. We are going to find a way to get like daily the graphics he makes online, so you guys can like download the images and stuff like that. Because some of them really, I love this image. Yeah, Anna Kendrick. I think that movie Up in the Air was a little bit of a revelation for a lot of people. It's like, wait, wasn't she just the best friend in Twilight? Well, yeah, she was, but she's way more than just that. When she got an Academy Award nomination for Up in the Air, she was fantastic in that. And she's just solid in everything she's in. She's great. But being great is part of what will raise your value. But then your marketability is also what raises your value, because, you know, a producer has to look at, and you can speak to this more than I can, but, you know, it seems to me that the producer, when they're looking at what to spend money on, you want to spend the money on things that you think is going to get you money back. And so that becomes a big thing. And I don't know that Anna Kendrick right now is a household name. She hasn't proved she can carry a franchise, although she's done a great job, with the musical Pitch Perfect. Yeah. She's done fantastic in that. So it's a mixture of those things. And remember, too, when you're saying the relatively low amount of money she makes, she will make more money today by dinner time than I will make in the next 5 years. So they just keep that all in perspective, too. Right. Schnepp, how do you see it?
Well, I mean, someone like Anna Kendricks is like, I mean, to me, I first saw her in Scott Pilgrim. So it's like, it's a real slow build with a lot of actors and actresses. Jack Black was around for like 15 years. He was like playing little small parts before he exploded. And all of a sudden he's in like 30 movies in 5 years, and he's headlining all of those films. Then it goes away a little bit. So actors come and go in waves. So, certain actors pick big movies, then just little special artistic films. You have people like De Niro, people who've been around for like in blockbuster films and are incredible actors for 30 years. And they'll do a couple of stinkers here and there, but then they come back swinging, you know, they knock it out of the park. So with that comes that real estate of an actor or an actress, and they come with that, you know, marketability. So we're talking about a global marketability. So someone like Anna Kendricks doesn't have that yet. She will, if she keeps on the trajectory that she's on, she'll have that in 10 years where she'll actually be a leading lady and have that kind of ability to cross over across the whole planet. People will be like, oh, Anna Kendrick's in this film. She might be able to carry a film on her own. So, you know, that's where it breaks down to. In our global marketplace right now, it's like you always hear the names like, well, can we get Fassbender? What about Cumberbatch? It's like there's certain reasons why you hear that is because they have a global appeal and they can sell a film. Someone who can sell a film instantly is Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
I mean, that just has it. That's bam, Leo, who, you know who I'm talking about when I say Leo. I don't even have to finish the name. So those kinds of people, Streep. Certain people can just, oh, they're in it, I'm going to see it, or I'm going to buy it, or instantly it's in 1,000 theaters without anyone ever seeing it. That's marketability, and that's
directed by John Schnepp.
Yeah.
Well,
run out, see it right now.
Yeah, well, let's not get ahead of ourselves. But yeah, like that kind of thing. That's why people make that kind of money, because of the marketability of their name across the globe. So, it comes and goes in waves as well. You know, as somebody's really popular, then you don't know about them in 10 years. So
if you didn't know, man, Kendrick can sing.
Yeah.
Man,
What also
can
adds
sing.
to that is the validity of their acting. Like
Yes.
everyone that you mentioned, whether it be Fassbender, Cumberbatch, Streep, you put them in your movies because they're incredible talents. Anna Kendrick is one of those people. Like, to me, when you have actors and actresses that did exactly what you said, Schnepp, with you see her in the smaller roles first, and then you go, oh, who's that? Who's that? And then you start to realize, oh, that's Anna Kendrick. That's Michael Fassbender. Because when you first saw Michael Fassbender, I remember seeing Glorious Bastards. I didn't remember his name.
Totally.
There's people that you don't remember their names, but you will, because their talent is what gets them to that place that eventually Fassbender says, I'm going to be Magneto now. Now everyone's going to remember me. Then I'll go and do something like Shame, where now the Oscars will hear me.
right.
As the difference, the opposing view is the Sam Worthingtons of the world, or hopefully not what they're doing with Jack Huston. You know, I don't. That's sometimes and Jai Courtney, where they jam them down your throat and go, that's your next star.
Right.
And we as an audience go, no, thank you.
Right.
And it's the agents and the studios try and well, you'll get more money if you do this and this, and you don't, and they don't necessarily, like Jai Courtney. He doesn't have the talent of like a Michael Fassbender, so he can't do those roles. He's got to go after the big checks, and he'll go after Terminator, because you don't know how long his career is going to last, or people like that are going to last. As where Anna Kendrick, she's gonna be around for a long time. She can do those smaller roles, and by the time she's still, I don't even know if she's 30 yet. By the time she gets to 40, you'll see the bigger paychecks because, oh, that's Anna Kendrick. The agents will go, oh, you know who that is. You want her in the movie, like with Streep. If Streep wants to do whatever, she's Streep. She's royalty. So
Charlize Theron, she could do whatever she wants.
Yeah, and that took a while. Devil's Advocate, all those.
Why? Because anything Charlize Theron is in is amazing.
Right.
At least she is. She makes
even
it
Aeon
elevate.
Flux was horrible.
Yeah.
You still
She
wanted to watch
made
it
it
because
better.
she was in it. Yeah.
And playing to where you're talking about, it's like you got to make sure I'm going to do some Oscar stuff. I'm going to do some.
You got to piece it.
George Clooney's flaw. What George Clooney's big thing is. One for them, one for me.
Yeah.
Talking about do one that audiences are really love, do one that I'm very passionate about.
Right.
Then I'll do one for them, I'll do one for me. Great. It seems to have worked for him.
Yeah, and hopefully that combines the two. Like the one that I love becomes the one that they love.
Yeah. All right, what's next?
Jan P writes, hey AMC, greetings from Finland and Italy. Are AMC shows going to be live again, and if so, when?
Yeah, a lot of you have noticed that we haven't been doing the shows live for the last couple of weeks because we've moved into the new headquarters, the new studio. And doing a show live is a whole nother ball game than just recording it, and then we can fix all the problems, all that kind of stuff, and get it up. We are going to be doing AMC Movie Talk live. It's a live show. We just need some time, a number of weeks, maybe a month or two, to work out all the bugs, get everything working properly to the point that we feel comfortable enough that we're ready to go live. So yes, absolutely, it is on the books. This show is supposed to be a live show. It's going to be a live show again. Just give us a little bit of time as we work out all the kinks. All right, folks, we also love to take questions from you guys via Twitter. So you can tweet us questions anytime. Just use the hashtag AMC Movie Talk. Once again, the hashtag AMC Movie Talk, which you can see below me there. Send in a tweet, and maybe you'll see your tweet on the show. Ashley, what have we got picked out?
Ryan Clark writes, what have you heard about the upcoming film Pixels? I haven't heard much.
I've heard they put out a trailer for a trailer yesterday, and I generally ignore them. It feels horrible to say this. I no longer get excited by anything I hear Adam Sandler is attached to. Unless he's doing a drama, I just don't care anymore. I'm open-minded. I'm going to see it. I'm going to hope to love it. But I'm so disinterested in this film right now. And that little teaser to a trailer to a trailer. I don't know. It didn't do anything for me. So that's nothing else. Nothing else. You guys?
I hang my head in shame and say I watched it.
The whole movie?
No.
Oh,
the teaser of the teaser, because
yeah.
I was like, Pixels? And then I didn't realize it was a teaser to a teaser.
I did too, because it was like teaser to Pixar. But then I realized, oh no, this is a teaser.
It's not even the thing yet.
A teaser to the trailer.
Yeah, so you watch a shadow of Pac-Man and like 4 people running in the streets. I was like, look, I love old video games, and I'd love to see Pac-Man destroy a city. I can't wait to see, whatever kind of Space Invader things, however they work it out. It sounds like a fun idea. Adam Sandler, if he did Opera Man, I would be in line. Just imagine Opera Man, a complete musical odyssey.
We need another SNL
That would be
movie.
a fantastic thing. But yeah, Pixels.
I'm with you that normally the last couple of movies you hear it like blended and this, you're like, come on, Grown Ups 2. You're like, Sandler, come on, dude, get it back together. I'm actually excited about this one. I know that, especially this table, I'm in the minority, but like with Dinklage and the way that they pieced up this movie and hearing what it's about and being the nostalgia for the video game.
Dude, I am excited about it. I'm talking about this teaser
of
a teaser.
Pixel
sounds like the last Starfighter
no one needs
on
teasers.
steroids.
No one needs teasers of teasers. It's ridiculous. But yes, that's a perfect analogy. And I'm hoping that it's one that you get, because The Cobbler certainly wasn't Adam Sandler, if you saw that thing. Anyway, let's get him back on track. Hopefully Pixels is what it is.
I think you guys are being far too optimistic. But here's hoping you guys are right, because I want to see it, and I'd love to see it.
Imagine a giant Cubert just hopping around destroying cities.
I just don't want it to be, look at Qbert, duty. You know, it's like, oh, come on, Sandler.
Right.
All right, what's next?
Jesse Michael Kline writes, what do you think of the rumors that Warner Brothers is eyeing Chris Pine for Green Lantern?
I honestly don't know if there's any validity to this at all. If it was, and if let's say Warner Brothers put out a press release today and it said, we've cast Chris Pine as playing it, I'll go, yeah, okay, yeah, that works. I'm cool with that. Won't jump up and down about it, but I certainly wouldn't be concerned about it either. So I'd be cool with it. Christian?
Yeah, I'd be cool with Pine as Green Lantern for sure. But like you said, you've heard everybody rumored for this guy.
Oh,
One
yeah.
time Denzel Washington was rumored for Green Lantern at one point. So it's like, until I hear Warner Brothers or Kevin Tsujihara make an announcement, that I'm not going to get excited about it anymore.
Now, if they say it's Chris Pine and he's playing Guy Gardner, then I'm going to be the Green Lantern Guy Gardner. Then I'll be ticked off.
That would be kind of weird.
It would be weird.
That would be a weird one. But yeah, Chris Pine as Green Lantern, I wasn't mad at it when I heard about it like a month ago, or like he was rumored about it like maybe even a year ago. That's kind of been floating around. So he'd be great,
All right, what's next?
Elle writes, would a prequel to the start of Game of Thrones spark your interest?
This is one of the funny things. We mentioned this, I think, about a year ago. I would actually be on board for a prequel movie to Game of Thrones. And there's a couple reasons why. Number one, when they talk about the history and the Dragon Wars and all that kind of stuff in Game of Thrones, some of that stuff sounds pretty damn interesting, right? Yeah. But here's the thing. You set that far enough in the past, you could release that as a movie. It could be really engaging on its own. Because it's in the past, nobody has to have watched Game of Thrones. Right. Because that's the thing. A lot of times when people talk about turning a TV show into a movie, well, now you're limiting the audience. You're simply limiting the movie to the audience that already watches the show. And while a lot of people watch Game of Thrones, it ain't enough to make a profitable movie. But you do this far enough in the past, people don't have to have watched the show to go and see and enjoy the movie. And that movie could then become a gateway drug to getting people to get on HBO and start watching Game of Thrones show. This is actually one idea for a prequel, which I normally don't like, that I'd actually be on board for, because I think it makes sense, Christian.
There's such a rich history there too.
Yeah.
And, and you guys have heard me till I'm blue in the face talking about the Old Republic with Star Wars, is that because there's a rich history. This is something, it is an absolute, it's a mythology that we know, if you are a fan of the show, you know a lot about, and you'd want to see, do I get to see more about the Kingslayer or how Ned Stark was able to meet the Baratheons and all that type of stuff? That would be really cool. But on the flip side of that, go farther in the past if you want, and let's see more dragons. Let's see, there's so much you can do. A movie setting it up, I agree with John, could really get you, if you've never watched one episode, you go, sign me up.
Sure. I would love to see any type of theatrical releases for Game of Thrones, because they did an experiment like a month ago. They took the last two episodes of season 4's Game of Thrones, the last 2 episodes, and IMAX'd them, redid them so that they're like you could play them big screen. And boy, it was fantastic to see those television shows, which are basically mini movies, projected. I was like, wow, this blew away half the films that were in the theater. I was like, HBO, if you got it smart, you should be like weaving your 10 episodes into 5 mini movies and playing those in theaters. You're going to just make extra cake, because people like me would be like, hey, I've already seen it, but now I want to see it in the big screen. I mean, because it just elevates it into just hearing that music with like just, I mean, yeah, it's like, yeah, you can't ever get that out of your head. Yes, that's insane asylum stuff. I can't get the music out. But anyway, Game of Thrones, going back in time, like to when the White Walkers roamed the earth, that kind of stuff. You could go, like you're saying, go back 5,000 years. You don't have to even deal with the Starks, or the Starks were still around, but way more primitive societies.
Right. The forging of the Throne of Swords, how they starting the Night Watch,
the Mad King,
the Mad
King. There's so much there.
All right, folks, we've gone overtime. Thank you so much for joining us for this installment of AMC Movie Talk. Listen, don't forget, lots of great films playing at AMC Theaters right now. Head on over to www.amctheaters.com for all of your theater, showtime, and of course, your movie ticket information. If you want an audio-only version of this episode, look in the description of this video and you'll find a link to our podcast feed. And don't forget to click the thumbs up button, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and share this video around on your Facebook and your Twitter pages. I want to thank, first of all, the guys sitting at the table with me, sitting over here, Mr. John Schnepp. Schnepp, where can people find you online?
You guys can find me just on Twitter and Instagram at John Schnepp and at TDOSLWH. The Death of Superman Lives, What Happened, comes out May 1st. I've been getting a lot of emails and tweets like, where is it going to be? How can I get it? It'll be in some theaters and it'll be playing VOD. All the announcements come in April 1st with the actual movie poster popping off too. So all those announcements April 1st. Thanks for all the emails.
Of course, you're here, Mr. Christian Harloff. Christian, where can people find you online?
You can find me breaking into AMC and putting Transformers 1986 on the animation list. But you can also find me on Jedi Council, which is going to be this Thursday, episode 2. Make sure you hashtag AMC Jedi Council. Ask some questions. Going to put some of those on the list.
Yeah, I should also mention that actually later today, you'll find the next episode of AMC Heroes as well. You can send in questions to hashtag AMC Heroes. Right. AMC Rewind is going to be on Friday. Lots of great stuff happening.
Yeah, I forgot to pimp on AMC Heroes today. We have Chris Burnham, who's done a lot of stuff with Grant Morrison. He's going to be our special guest, so check it out.
It's going to be so exciting. And of course, our lovely host today, the one who remembered to wear green, Miss Ashley Mova. Ashley, where can people find you online?
Twitter, Instagram at Ashley Mova. Happy St. Patrick's Day, guys.
Yeah. And you can find me on the various social media networks. Follow me on Twitter or Facebook, just at John Campia. Thanks a lot for joining us, guys. My name's John Campia for AMC Movie News, and until next time, green beer.